I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. I'm trying to figure out what on earth is happening with Mike Pence. You know what I think? Someone said to me years ago, when the goings get tough, the tough get going. I think Mike Pence has been a P-boy all his life. I think he's been a P-boy. I think it's just coming out of it. Sometimes the real you don't come out until, the stars come out at night. You ever hear that joke about your teeth are like stars? People who wear dentures say your teeth are like stars. They come out at night. I think what we see with Mike Pence is who he's always been. He ain't never been nothing more than what he is right now. I can tell you this. What we say about Tribulation Trump is what he's always been. And Trump don't make no bones about that. They don't try to hide nothing. They ain't try to listen to argument. I've been this way all my life. I ain't gonna change for you. I ain't gonna change for Jack Smith. I ain't gonna change for Merrick Garland. I ain't gonna change for Joe Biden. I ain't gonna change for Pastor Manning either. How'd I get in this? How'd you get me in this, Trump? You say you can indict Trump up the yin thing, up the wazoo. Trump said, I'm going to keep raising money. And his boy's raising a lot of money too, right? Anyway, so I've had enough. I want you to listen to Mike Pence. Watch how he squeezes, squirms around the questions that Dana Bash asked him. And then he tries to act like a Baptist preacher from Louisiana. You got the Baptist, the cadence of a Baptist preacher, Louisiana Baptist preacher, you know how they act. Anyway, go ahead and send you to roll that before I get in more trouble.
The president's words were reckless that day. I had no right to overturn the election. But while his words were reckless, based on what I know, I'm not yet convinced that they were criminal. I obviously wasn't there for every meeting. I was busy trying to help reopen the government and the country after the COVID pandemic. I was spending a fair amount of time in Georgia, Dana, as you remember, in those special elections. But from what I know, I really do hope it doesn't come to that, and also for the reason that I do think the Department of Justice has lost the confidence of the American people. I mean, in one town hall after another across New Hampshire, I heard a deep concern for a perception about the unequal treatment of the law. And I think one more indictment against the former president will only contribute to that sense among the American people. Well, and as I said, I'd rather that these issues and the judgment about his conduct on January 6th be left to the American people in the upcoming primaries, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, part of the reason why people believe that...
Listen, open my mic for just 1 second. All right, this is a question that just popped in my head. This is what a phony this guy is. He says he don't believe what Trump did was criminal. Hope he doesn't get indicted. The indictment won't be good for the American people. And if you don't believe what he did was criminal, and he's running for president, why are you running against him? Let me ask you another question, Mike P. Pence. You was a running mate. Why is he dumping you? Did he dump you or you dumped him? What is this? What is it with you? I don't know how, but I don't get personal, guy. Everybody, the pastor man done gone down the personal road. But I don't know how your wife gets in bed with you, man. Anyway, go ahead, Ms. Engineer.
The Justice Department is not being fair is because your former boss is telling them that's the case. I just want to follow up and to say, you're right. I remember you were traveling a lot and you weren't in every meeting that he had. This is what the special counsel has been doing, gathering evidence. If that evidence does point to an actual crime, you still think that it's better for the country that he not be indicted and held accountable?
Well, look, it's not just what the former president has said about his situation. I mean, look, we had whistleblower testimony on Capitol Hill this week that, in all fairness, was largely ignored by much of the national media.
Well, no, we did that, but I just want to ask
IRS
about
agents
this.
that were talking about obstructions of investigations into the president's family, and then we learned about one instance after another of FBI officials saying that they were obstructed from asking questions. I'll be honest with you, as I traveled around New Hampshire, I heard again and again from people about a deep concern about unequal treatment of the law, and it's why I said to people, if I'm elected president of the United States, we're not just going to have a new attorney general, we're going to clean house among all the senior leadership at the Justice Department, and we're going to appoint men and women of integrity who will have the confidence of Americans across the political spectrum for their commitment to the rule of law.
Sir, and I hear what you're saying about that, and I'm sure you are hearing that on the campaign trail, but because we are. You have a very unique perspective because your life and the life of your family was at risk that day, which you have talked about very extensively. You still believe that the former president should be held to a different standard if what you experienced turned out to be based in breaking the law, and that is shown through evidence found by the special counsel's investigation?
Well, Dana, let me be very clear. President Trump was wrong on that day, and he's still wrong in asserting that I had the right to overturn the election. But what his intentions were, and as you know, criminal charges have everything to do with intent, what the president's state of mind was. Sure. And I don't honestly know what his intention was that day, whether as he spoke to that.
I don't know enough of this. This is, imagine if he became president, which ain't going to happen. Well, yeah, I mean, you never know, though. He believes that if he doesn't attack Trump, he probably hates Trump worse than Tucker Carlson hates the boy. But if I say I hate him, then they're going to do, his supporters are going to do to me what they did to Pastor Mann. They're going to dump him like a hot potato. They did dump me. I'd rather say I jumped. No, you didn't dump me. I jumped. And so, but imagine if he became president. What? I mean, but you have to remember this if you want to understand what's going on there. Trump is the trigger of the tribulation. That is clear. If you want to be clear about what you can be clear about. All right, I'm James David Manning. I'm the Lord's servant.